What's happening, everybody? You are tapped into the 24th floor. It is Monday, May the 19th, and we're just a couple of days away from finding out who is all NBA, and thus what the Grizzlies may do with Jaren Jackson Jr. We bring in Drew Hill to help us break it all down, plus the special gift that Drew got from one Ja Morant. Lots to do, not a lot of time to do it. Play the animation. Let's rock. Joining me on the show today, Grizzlies beat writer for the Daily Memphian. He's forgotten more Grizzlies hoops than I can ever hope to remember. It is Drew Hill. Drew, my friend, what's going on with you? How was your weekend?
What's up? It was good. Busy. I got a lot going on, even though it's the off season. But you know, the Grizzlies, the NBA, they don't stop. You know,
they do not.
They don't stop. I was out at the EYBL event on Friday. That was fun. So basketball in this city, man, it's a great place.
It's a great place. Certainly a hoop city, and my Nike EYBLs made it feel that way, even on a high school level, which you think is kind of crazy. What'd you think about? Did you hit any of the barbecue festivals?
I didn't get to make it. I wanted to get to the one in Tiger Lane on Friday, but it took me a while. I got tied up with my column. Wasn't able to make it out, but I wish I would have been able to make it. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it this year.
Yeah, basketball and barbecue, they do kind of go hand in hand. Let's go ahead and jump into our big idea of the day, because it's a big week when it comes to the Grizzlies. Even though they're not playing, now that we've reached the conference final stage of the NBA playoffs, we can anticipate all NBA teams being announced this week. In Grizzlies land, that's significant because if Jaren Jackson Jr. is named to one of the all NBA teams, he's eligible for a supermax extension, which shapes how the Grizzlies will move forward with their roster construction. What's Jaren think of being a Memphis Grizzly moving forward? Here's from
just being somewhere for a long time and having familiarity with the staff and my teammates. And I mean, that's huge. I don't take that for granted because I know the other side of that. And it's fun. I mean, we're like a family.
So Jaren's made it pretty clear that he probably wants to be in Memphis as long as the options are there and money lines up, those kinds of things. All NBA is certainly something we've been discussing a lot here in Memphis. In your mind, people you've talked to, does it feel like he will make one of those three All-NBA teams?
Oh, man, it is so hard to tell right now. It's so close. If you followed some of the early voting, even that suggested that it was going to be really borderline. The way that the Grizzlies struggled towards the end of the season, I worry a little bit that it's going to hurt his chances, especially, he came back after that ankle injury. He wouldn't say it, but I don't think he was fully at 100%. When he did come back.
He's trying to get to that 65-game mark.
Yeah, just trying to pass the minimum. And, I in the end, if he doesn't make it, I think there's other avenues that the Grizzlies can take. But right now, if I had to guess, I mean, based on the voting that I've seen, I'd probably guess he's going to miss the list. But I'm not confident in saying that. I think that it's going to be a very close vote. And if you're the Grizzlies, for a lot of reasons, you really hope he is on that list, and he is an All-NBA player.
Supermax eligibility gives him up to $350 million. If he doesn't, they can kind of maneuver around to $240 million. Let's talk about the actual making of All-NBA. He's up to Supermax extension, gives him $350 million or up to. Do you think the Grizzlies would give him that? And if they do or don't, why would?
I don't think that they can fork over $350 million over 5 years. That just feels like it's too much. That sort of contract is made for the very best players in the league, the top 5, the MVP candidates. That type of contract isn't made for a player like Jaren. So, but they can pay him up to that amount, right?
Sure.
So there is a number. I mean, you would have to assume based on the season he had, it'd be more than what Desmond Bane got. He would become the highest paid player. That feels pretty safe in this scenario where he makes All-NBA. But it's also important, this part of this conversation is important because if he makes All-NBA, whatever decision you might make in order to try to put an extension on the table for him, it opens up the door and the window to sign more players and kick that money further down the line, where next season you're able to add a little bit more because Jaren's extension doesn't kick in until 2026, 27, right? So that's the reason why the Grizzlies and all their fans should really be cheering for Jaren to make All-NBA, should really be hopeful that happens, because it's going to give the team more flexibility right now. I mean, we saw the way that the team fizzled out at the end of the season. No one was happy with that. I think the Grizzlies are going to be open-minded in discussing trades this summer and figuring out what direction they can go. I do also think that Jaren Jackson Jr., as of right now, and based on what they made it sound like at exit interviews, is going to be part of the plan moving forward. If you want if that's the case, if Jaren is coming back and you want to have him be a part of this, but you also want to turn over some of this roster and get some fresh bodies in, the best scenario is for Jaren to make All-NBA for the Grizzlies. Otherwise, some of what they're going to have to do this summer is really going to handcuff them if Jaren's going to be that big of a priority.
So if in the event that he does not make All-NBA, he can go up to $240 million.
Yes.
In terms of they can still extend him, just not necessarily at the supermax extension level. When you look at what that looks like, what do you think that number probably hovers at the 240, and how does it handicap the Grizzlies if he doesn't get that supermax extension?
Sure, there's a number of things that will have to happen in order to get Jaren extended if he doesn't make All-NBA. I think the first thing that you're looking at is a renegotiate and extend. So the Grizzlies can only extend off of his current salary right now, and I think it's 40%. Like it would be his current salary and raise it by 40%, and they could do that over 4 years. Well, that wouldn't pay Jaren enough money. Like, he could get much more money if he just waited to free agency. So that never made much sense. I think part of the reason why they traded Marcus Smart out was because it opened the window to do something like this, where you could renegotiate and extend. If they renegotiate, when I talk about handicap, when they renegotiate, they would have to essentially release the cap holds on 3 of the different players, on probably make a trade, John Conchar, maybe. I mean, I think they like Brandon Clark, but like that could shed some salary. Find a way to open up more money to pay Jaren more next season. And if you're paying Jaren more next season, then you could extend off of that bigger contract that you're going to pay him next season. That's how you get to that $240 million. Well, the problem with that is if you're paying him more next season, you're saying goodbye to Luke Kennard. You're saying goodbye to Lamar Stevens. You're saying goodbye to Marvin Bagley. You have less money to work with. You have to go into the beginning of the offseason under the salary cap. That makes you what's called a room team. If you're a room team, then you have exceptions to sign players. They would have roughly $5 million on a biannual and then $9 million on a room mid-level exception. If Jaren makes All-NBA, then they're going into the offseason over the salary cap, which is in this case a good thing because it would allow them to access a non-taxpayer, so the Grizzlies aren't above the first apron, so that they
get that mid-level exception, right?
They would get roughly a $14 million mid-level extension versus a $9 million if they have to shed salary and start the offseason under the salary cap, because they know, hey, next season we're going to pay Jaren a lot more money, so we can extend him off of that number and we can keep him here for the long term. It's really complex.
Yeah.
I'm sure we just confused some people, and I'm sorry.
But if they go back and listen to it, a couple of times, they'll definitely kind of figure it out. And of course, they can read your writing about it as well.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. One quick note as we kind of look ahead to our next block here in a minute, but you had some reporting about a potential Tomas Isalo connection overseas and one TJ Shorts. Can you kind of explain what that is?
Yeah, it got reported from an overseas publication that TJ Shorts was going to come to the Grizzlies, and that day
made some buzz. Started to have people chit-chatting about it.
Yeah, the internet sort of took a hold of that and just took it as the truth. That day I reported, though, no commitments between TJ Shorts and the Grizzlies. TJ can get paid a lot more money, frankly, to play overseas. And the Grizzlies, they wouldn't be able to sign a player that's from overseas until free agency starts on July 1st. We just talked about all this stuff that has to be worked out. We just talked about the fact that they might end up making some trades, finding ways to get fresh bodies for the start of next season. I mean, we don't know what their needs are going to be. We don't know if they make a trade and they bring in a third point guard. Like, we have no idea what's going to come next. So how could the Grizzlies know that they need a third point guard at this point? So I'm not saying it's impossible. It just seems unlikely at this point that TJ Short will be a Grizzly.
And for those who don't know, TJ Short is kind of short. He's about 5'9",
5'9",
5'10".
yeah.
But we do know the Grizzlies do love themselves a 5'9", 5'10" point guard a la Yuki Kawamura and a couple of those other guys. So we got to get into our first break of the afternoon. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more to Drew Hill about the special gift he actually got and how it connects to one Ja Morant and one of your favorite drinks, i.e. Kool-Aid. That's next.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with ABC 24 and 24 Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on 24 Plus. The 24 Plus TV app, streaming 24/7 local news from the team you trust on your time.
Rain showers through the day today, and we're starting.
Track how the weather will impact your day.
Rain coming in tonight into tomorrow.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene. Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 24 Plus, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
Here comes our first batch of rain.
Some severe thunderstorms and even several tornado warnings.
I think the bigger issue is going to be the wind gusts. So you start getting some branches knocked around. You could definitely see some power outages today. The storms could pack a punch.
It's not just the thunderstorms, it's the fact that this low pressure is so strong.
It's how big that storm system was.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on 24 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. When news breaks, watch 24 Plus. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene, faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 24 Plus. Download free on your TV now.
Welcome back. I don't know about your childhood, but as for me in my house, we loved a glass of Kool-Aid. And apparently, so did Ja Morant growing up in South Carolina. Morant and Kool-Aid announced a collaboration on his Ja 2s, the Ja 2 Kool-Aid colorway, also known as the Mixed Berries colorway. Morant gifted pairs of that colorway to the Jet Academy at the Nike EYBL AAU tournament at the Memphis Sports and Events Center this weekend. But they are not the only ones. Drew Hill was also gifted a pair of Ja 2 Mixed Berries. Drew, now the envy of the internet, he's got the marketing with him, the package that it came in. Drew, can you please explain to me what you got here and kind of how this happened?
Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, let me just say this. I did not ask for these.
Yeah,
for
sure.
This was not
an ad. This is not an endorsement.
Ad. I'm not, none of that. I think what happened was Nike had my address and shoe size from when Ja released the Ja 1s, and we went and did a thing with Ja to learn about the process of them making a shoe, and I wrote a long feature story just about the process of how the Ja 1s got made with, all of the ideas that went in behind it and that entire process. And so I got home the other day. I noticed I had a big cardboard box sitting on my doorstep. I opened it up, and it is this, which is obviously a promotional item with the shoes in it. The packaging, just a moment for the packaging.
Let's see,
right
hold
here,
that up. Hold that
right
up.
here.
Like, right there on the Cam 5. Yeah, there it is.
See that? They have Ja Morant facts here, and I'll read a couple. You've got explosiveness 100 drafted. You got his year drafted. His vertical leap 44 inches. Controversy occasional.
Occasional, yeah.
Aura off the charts. Handles elite. Clutch factor 110%. So this obviously was. I get a lot of promotional items because I was at one point an NBA awards voter, and so people try to promote their products and. As I said to you earlier before we got on air here, just like DVD players with the Raptors logo and life-size posters of Jokic and like comic books with Utah Jazz players, like the teams.
Stuff you will never use another day in your life.
Stuff you'll never use another day in your life. This is by far the best promotional item that has ever been sent.
Go ahead and bring it on. Let's bring it on. Let's see what we.
So first of all, in the top. we got to appreciate the oh yeah.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
And I also want to say to Kool-Aid, by the way, I hadn't drank Kool-Aid in like 15 years. After these showed up, I went. They put some packets in here.
Couple packs? Yeah,
I went and made Kool-Aid, and it was just as delicious as it was when I was younger. But here they are.
Yeah, let me hold that.
Glow in the dark souls here. That's obviously pretty cool. The Nike swoosh is busting out of what appears to be a brick wall. So just like the Kool-Aid Man commercials, you've got the Kool-Aid Man on the tongue here. And then
it says, yeah, on the
my
inside,
favorite detail, you put them both in the shot together here. Here we go. Not a TV expert. Oh yeah, here on the inside of the tongue. So obviously this was really cool. They were very popular. There was a pop-up at the EYBL event, as you guys showed, and that was great. These also released on
was it Friday? They come out on Friday?
On Friday on the Sneakers app, and so there was a rush to get those. Some people got lucky. And then from what I hear, it sounds like in July there may be the other colorway for the Ja Kool-Aid, the Kool-Aid Ja 2s. I think it's a purple and a red shoe in July. So if you missed these and you missed out on this opportunity, download the Sneakers app. You might be able to get the Kool-Aid Jaws in July when they come back around.
I still love some of the descriptions that are on the box here. Directions, I'm reading it from where I am. Bring a little Kool-Aid to your game with these fresh kicks, stir up the action, inspire with your moves, and keep rising play after play. And then it says, this is a message from Ja, it all started with Kool-Aid at Grandma's house. Now every sip brings me back home. The Ja 2 mixed berry is my childhood joy, laced up in every pair. I know y'all got some Kool-Aid in here, so let's stir up a little action on the court, et cetera, et cetera. Where do you think this lands, or in terms of like Ja's marketing campaigns for these shoes? We remember when All-Star Weekend came around a couple of years ago, they had Mount Ja, right? The really big like icicle igloo scenario out there. Where do you think this kind of lands on that level?
I mean, these are great, obviously. And the details on these are so just specific, you know? And I really like how personal it is. Like even down to like some of the beading on the shoe to make this look like condensation, like a sweating pitcher or something, you know? So the details on this I think are really unmatched.
Wow, yeah.
Now, the Mount 12, the initial release of the Ja sneakers was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And to me, it was more of a, I don't know, an experience versus these are obviously branding that everyone recognizes. The Mount 12 was something that if you were at All-Star Weekend in Salt Lake City just walking around, you might see that on the street and be like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, you're just like shocked.
You know, people were walking by like wanting to know what it was. So the Mount 12 was maybe a little bit more shocking. These I think are more personal and cool in that way. So yeah, I think these are some of my favorites, but I'm partial because I was very lucky to be there the day Ja met Ja Raf.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good ones.
That was one of my favorite stories I've ever written, and the Ja Raf Jaws are my favorite ones ever.
I remember we were in the locker room and he hadn't like unveiled the Ja Rafs yet, but the benefit of us being there night after night is we just kind of get to see some stuff that other people don't. And he actually brought out the Ja Rafs. And like as TV people, right, we all have our cameras. And we're like, oh yeah, we're like pick our cameras up to shoot whatever he's about to show us. He's like, whoa. This is exclusive. Like you got to put the cameras away. I can't show it to you yet. And he shows us the Ja Raf sneakers, and those were by far pretty cool. But it feels like every one of his colorways of his shoes feel like they have some kind of cool inspiration to them. He's got the personalized ones for the Kari. Some of those other things I think are really cool. What do you think this says about how Nike has really doubled and really now tripled down on their relationship with Ja? That he just announced the Ja 3s as well.
I mean, no matter what Ja has sort of faced here in his career, and no matter what people might think of him outside of the city, these shoes sell.
Yeah.
And Nike, in the end, has to run a business. Ja sells. He's electric on a basketball court.
Controversy sells, though.
Controversy sells.
Yeah.
He does things on the court that you don't see from other players across the league, period. You know, like players cannot play the way he plays. And so I think to have someone that is so unique, that has such a electricity to him, that sells sneakers. Excuse me. And I'll never forget one of my favorite days on the beat was when he was debuting the Jaws, and he was still, they were still starting to come out, and he dunked on Jalen Smith in Indiana, and he said, "It's the Jaws, right?
It got to be the shoes."
And that's when you sort of knew, okay, like Ja's a great guy to try to market these things.
For sure.
So
again, these shoes gifted to Drew on the same weekend that EYBL was in town at the Memphis Sports and Events Center. That's Nike's AAU circuit. 200 plus teams, 400 coaches were in the building. Drew, you wrote about this event that came over to the Memphis Sports and Events Center in Liberty Park. We had Team Thad's Norton Hurd IV, the coach on the program, director on the program last week. What did you think about the program this weekend?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was great that so many people were there. I was there Friday morning, and the parking was already so full that the Sprinter vans were just like lined up down the street. And kids were walking in, smelling the barbecue from Barbecue Fest as they're walking into the gym. It's great to have a center like that. It's great to have a place like this. Memphis was maybe a little bit slower in getting a space to host these tournaments like this. This is really, in my opinion, part of the next evolution of high school basketball in this city. And I say that because,
a lot of our best players get pulled.
They get pulled. They
get
get pulled to prep schools. And I spent some time talking to several different coaches and parents of players over the weekend, and all of them sort of said the same thing. Is like, the day and age where Alex Lomax and Tyler Harris and all these people played in the city, it's those days have passed, right? Like you just don't. There's talented kids. Don't get me wrong. There's very talented kids. I know Bartlett has an unbelievable team. So don't get me wrong. But those kids get recruited by these prep schools now, so it's harder to keep them here. And having a big AAU event like this that is the next step in. It might be an evolution. It might be different. You may not like it as much, but it is a big part in keeping high school basketball and putting Memphis on the map when it sort of relates to the high school game. So I thought it was great that they had it, great for the event center, and great for just the city in general.
For sure. We're going to talk more EYBL on the other side of the break. Got to say thank you to Drew for showing us the Jaw 2s. You can read his writing over at the Daily Memphian. When we come back, we'll talk about our local team in Nike EYBL. That is Team Thad. You want to check that out on the other side of the break. Stick around.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with ABC 24 and 24 Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on 24 Plus. The 24 Plus TV app, streaming 24/7 local news from the team you trust on your time.
Rain showers through the day today, and we're starting.
Track how the weather will impact your day.
Rain coming in tonight into tomorrow.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene. Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 24 Plus, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
Here comes our first batch of rain.
Some severe thunderstorms and even several tornado warnings.
I think the bigger issue is going to be the wind gusts. So you start getting some branches knocked around. You could definitely see some power outages today. Those storms could pack a punch.
It's not just the thunderstorms, it's the fact that this low pressure is so strong.
It's how big that storm system was.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on 24 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. When news breaks, watch 24 Plus. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 24 Plus. Download free on your TV now.
Nobody really expected him to be what he has become on this team. And that is one of the Iron Men, quite frankly. He has played in all 79 games, and he started in 74 of them. And so when you have a guy like that, he's been nothing but dependable pretty much all year. And when you have a guy who's dependable pretty much all year, you've got to find folks to fill in his space. Jalen has been arguably the best wing defender on the team the entirety of the year. He's had so many games this season where he has been tasked with defending the best player on the team or the best perimeter player on the other team. He's had some phenomenal defensive performances, shutting down the likes of Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. And even when they've had really good games, they still had to contend with Jalen being in their hip pocket.
I wanted Michael Jordan to come. I wanted Scottie and them to come. You know, they was winning championships in my town. It'd have been great for them to come pass out toys and turkeys and things, but they didn't do it. Not saying now that it ain't a reason why I shouldn't, because they not from where I'm from.
Right.
So it's on me to go ahead and change that narrative. It's on me to go back and get hope. And that's what I do, man, even till this day, man. From Maine to Spain to China, Carolina. If it's a hood near you, TA gonna be there.
So it's always good being back in Memphis. Just, you know, it's home, and being back always feels like that.
It's actually really the more disturbing thing I saw this week. Not really comforting, especially if you're a Grizzlies fan. Grizzlies getting into a little shoving match against the Utah Jazz. Desmond Bane goes full two-arm shove into Santi Aldama and would look like a pretty heated argument on the sideline, on the bench, and during a timeout. Grizzlies trying to hold the ship together. Just 10 games left in the regular season. They have slid from second to fifth. Welcome back to the 24th floor. A major weekend and a major win for Memphis on the high school stage. We talked about it with Drew Hill. It was Nike's EYBL circuit in town. This was a live period, meeting all kinds of college coaches in the building. Coach Cal of Arkansas, Hubie Brown of UNC. You got Baylor's Scott Drew in there. Former NBA baller Jermaine O'Neal coaching up Team Drive Nation. How about Akeem the Dream Olajuwon in the building for the University of Houston, as is former NBA coach Monty Williams. All to see guys like him. Christian Collins, the number 3 overall recruit for ESPN 100 in the class of 2026. And we've got our own AAU team in Memphis, Team Thad, sponsored by native Memphian and NBA player Thaddeus Young. That's Norton Hurt IV, who was on the show last week. All about the best defense. Jackson Gully on the steal. And then show me something, young fella. Gully Island on the break. And then in the post, Eric Sheffield. You talked about Hakeem the Dream. There's a turnaround hook for you. That looks a little Thad Young-esque as well. And Sheffield doing it on both ends. Beats that one off the glass. Call him Mr. Clean. More defense. The block, the team block, the break. And then another Showtime dunk. Team Thad beats Indy Heat 77-69. They go 3-1 on the weekend in essentially their home gym. Lemoyne-Owen College is turning to a hometown favorite to lead its basketball team. Memphis native Faraji Phillips is the new head coach for the Magicians. He's coached at Whitehaven, Mitchell, the University of Memphis, and Vanderbilt, helping build winning teams and develop big-name players. Now he's back home, ready to turn things around at Lemoyne-Owen and bring pride back to that program. The conference finals are set on both sides. In the West, it'll be OKC and Minnesota. The Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards continue to be legend killers, going through LeBron, Luka, and Steph to get to the conference finals in 5 games. OKC had to go 7 to get past Denver, but they got them boys up out of there in Game 7, 125-93. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander showing why he should be MVP. 35 points, 3 steals for Shai Gorgeous. OKC in the conference finals for the first time since 2012. In the East, it will be Pacers and Knicks. The Pacers, led by arguably underrated star Tyrese Halliburton, took out the Cavs in 5 games. The Knicks beat the Celtics in 6 and a 119-81 blowout in Game 6, sending them to the conference finals for the first time since 2000.
Yeah, it's crazy, man, but, you know, great for them, happy for them. You know, obviously I'm new here, but just know how much New York loves their sports, and especially the Knicks. So, just so excited to be a part of it, and I mean, you know, they enjoy it for us right now, but obviously we got way more to go, but you know, happy for them.
Gotta say goodbye, but not before we acknowledge just how crazy Knicks fans are about getting back to the conference finals for the first time since 2000. We're gonna party like it's 1999 on the way back from the break.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with ABC 24 and 24 Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on 24 Plus. The 24 Plus TV app, Streaming 24/7 local news from the team you trust on your time.
Rain showers through the day today, and we're starting.
Track how the weather will impact your day.
Rain coming in tonight into tomorrow.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene. Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 24+, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
Here comes our first batch of rain.
Some severe thunderstorms and even several tornado warnings.
I think the bigger issue is going to be the wind gusts. So you start getting some branches knocked around. You could definitely see some power outages today. The storms could pack a punch.
It's not just the thunderstorms, it's the fact that this low pressure is so strong.
How big that storm system was.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on 24+. Download on your TV and watch for free. When news breaks, watch 24+. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene, faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 24+. Download free on your TV now.
It's the best thing I saw this week. Can I get a bing bong for all the Knicks fans out there? They're partying quite literally like it's 1999 because that's the last time their team was in the conference finals. It was actually first time since 2000. The fans took over NYC's 7th Avenue like they won the actual finals. We got guys on light poles. We got folks on billboards, people in Spider-Man costumes. You may not like the Knicks, but you can't lie. This big Knicks energy is exactly what the NBA needs as they continue in these playoffs. That is a wrap on the 24th floor today. Thanks to Drew Hill of the Daily Memphian for joining the show. Thanks to Jared Robinson on the ones and twos, to Rich Denson for producing the show, and thank you for watching because that's how I get paid. We're back on Thursday. Until then, I will see you.